Okay, so I've got a basic setup with my page layouts, with the title blocks and some viewports set up to scale. But then we need to have this list of drawings that you can see here for the second assignment. And so because we're going to have a fairly large list of drawings, it's really important that we organise those and make it easy for people to be able to access them, but also to check to see that all the drawings in the set are present. So it's really important that you have what's called a drawing schedule, if you haven't made these before. And so that's normally done on a separate page that's part of your drawing set. And so I'm going to add a page in AutoCAD and then use the table tool in AutoCAD to create this drawing schedule, or drawing list, essentially is what it is. So I'm going to start with one of the pages that I've already created, and I might just go back and see I've got some other pages there that are actually set up in the same way. So you can use any of the pages that you've created previously that have the title block in the correct position. So we're going to use the same title block for the time being on this new sheet. So it's much easier if you've created a page already, place the title block there. You can then copy that by right-clicking on that tab and going to Move or Copy, and then tick Create a Copy. If you wanted to go to the first, or be the first tab in the list, you can simply choose the one at the top of the list there. So again, as long as I've got Create a Copy turned on, if I click OK now, you can see it's added a new layout down at the bottom, which is an exact copy of the previous one. And so I'm going to right-click on that new tab and go to Rename. And I'm going to organise this starting with the cover sheet, essentially. I'm going to give this a number. So I'm going to make it 001. We'll probably change that number in a moment anyway, but for now I'll just make it 001 cover. And then, as before, double-clicking on that title block, we can change any of those details. So again, this drawing number probably will change, but for now, I'll just make it 001. So you can see that it's changed. And I don't need to have any viewports there, so I can simply delete that viewport by selecting the border and then delete. And we probably don't need the north point either, so I'll delete that too. And then I'm going to create a table for my drawing schedule. So going to the annotation panel on the home tab, you've got the table style option there. Okay, so what do you think you need in a drawing schedule? Oh, same thing. Yep, so you just click on that. Oh, that's the same thing. Yep, so you can either go to the button on the left or, yep, same thing. Okay, so again, you just want to think about the options or the fields that you need to have in your drawing schedule. So if we go to Modify, then we've got over on the left, sorry, on the top right, you've got the data style, which is on it's obviously starting this. So I'll go firstly to title, and then we've got all the options there. I'm actually just going to leave as they are, and go to the text tab there, and that style actually is probably okay, having the style on standard and then the height set to 6. But what I'm going to do is just click on the browse button next to where it says standard, just to check that the height there is set to 0. So that's a little technical thing with AutoCAD. If you set the height in the table settings, that only works if the height of the text style is set to 0. So if there's a height value in there, if it's anything other than 0, then it'll ignore the setting in your table settings. So you need to make sure if you're going to use this standard text style that it's set to 0 in the text style itself, and then you can set the height here. So I'll leave that on 6, that's okay. And then I'll go to header, which is going to be the field for each heading, of course. And then, yeah, okay, again, the height there, 4.5, that's okay. And then we'll check again data, and we'll make that one 3.5. Yeah, sorry, the text height, yeah, that's right, yeah. So you can check. Yeah, so data, I'm going to make 3.5. So for data, 3.5. So for title, 6. For header, 4.5. And for data, 3.5. So, if it's greyed out, that means you've set a height in the text style. So just click the browse button next to where it says standard. Just down below that, with the text style. Down below it says browse button, and then you just change the height there to 0. And then turn off annotating as well. And then just apply. Yes, yeah, of course. Okay, so, oops, sorry, I just clicked on the button by mistake. Okay, so that's all okay, I think, apart from that. So we'll leave the borders and everything else just on the default settings. So I'm going to click OK, and then close. Okay, so now using the table tool, click table, and then it's going to give me a prompt for the basic table settings for this particular table. So we mainly need to look there at the number of columns, even though we can add more to that later, and then also the number of rows. So again, just think about the things that you need to have in this table. So looking at the drawing list here, you might get some idea, and what I thought actually would be good here if we look at the title block options. That'll often give you a good idea of the sorts of things that you might want to include in a drawing list. There's no real rule for this, but it really comes down to common sense. So starting here with one at the bottom, the drawing number, usually will be the first thing. Then you'll have the drawing name, which unfortunately isn't in this list, but that should always be in a title block as well. And, here we go, put drawing names down here for some reason. And then the date definitely should be there. The class and year is basically sort of part of the date. And then either your name or the person who's done the drawing, but in this case it should be your name. Oh yeah, so that's for the title block, but also a lot of those things will go into the drawing list as well. Yeah, so you'll see in a moment. So, okay, so I just want to give you an idea about those things. We can always add more columns anyway. So, so what was I saying? So looking at those elements again, so we've got the drawing number, that's 1. The drawing name, which isn't there, but we know we need that, so that's 2. The date is 3. Then your name is 4. We could have the scale as well, but that can vary. So 4 at least fields we should have. And so here we can change columns to 4. And then data rows, we don't really know until we've done all of the drawings, but we've got an idea by looking at the drawings here. So there'll be extra drawings definitely, but let's just start with this list. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. Well, let's say there'll be more sheets definitely, so we'll say 10. So 10 data rows Should be a pretty good starting point. So I'm just going to click OK, and then you can see I can easily place that table. Then we need to go through and put in something for these fields, and it's a good idea to put in as much as you can when you first make your table. So I'm going to call this drawing schedule. And then when I press enter, it's going to move down to the first header field. So the first one should always be drawing number. And then it's going to go down to the next, to the actual field where you're going to enter in your value. So I'm just going to say for now 001. And then I might use tab instead, which will take me across. And then we can just go up with the arrow key to go back to that header field next to drawing number. Drawing name, do the next one. And then I'm just going to use the right arrow key to move across to the next one. And we'll make that, what was again, drawing, date, or sorry, we'll have, yeah, date or drawn by. You can have either next, but we'll put drawn by actually. So drawn by, again it should be you, and then date. Okay, so the date field often, well you'll often have two date fields. You'll have sometimes one field for when the drawing was completed, another one for when the drawing was issued. But I think in this case we can just have the one. And so clicking to the side, you can see then we exit the table, and if you want to change any of those values again, you can simply double click and type into any of those fields. The formatting will sometimes take away things like zeros, so I'm going to make this A001. And you can see there it's going to give you this message asking about data types. So if you're
Can you fix it like we would in Excel, like maybe text?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah, that's right, yeah, the same as Excel. So if you've done any programming or Excel, you have an idea about data types, and it's really just going to matter if you need to have numbers that can be totaled. You might need to use the number data type, but I don't think you'll need to do that for your drawing schedule, so you can always just change them to text fields. So you can see now that I can... just use the first option, you change the data type. So yeah, so whenever you see that message, I'll just show you again with another one. So if you start off with a number, so I'll put in maybe a number over here. So 01, 03 or something, it's going to default to a number data type. But if you then go and change that and put some text in, so I'll just put an A in front of it, it'll give you this message about changing data types, and you can just use the first option there to change the data type to essentially to text or a string, something like that. So here though we obviously want a date, so I'm going to put in, let's put today's date, so 30-04-18, and let's see, now because that's a text field, it'll keep those dashes. So let's just see, I'll check this, if we go into another field. Yeah, so that I can tell is a number data type. So if you put in minus, so let's just put 4-5, yeah, again, you should get that message about changing the data type. So that's fine. And then you can see that it's actually going to the date data type, which is actually okay, but you can always type over that. So if you want to make them dashes instead, you can always just go and edit that manually. It's going to go back to the date format. It's a bit annoying. So we want to change that to text. So I'm going to put in a letter A, and then again it's going to ask about changing the data type, and then if I go and type now, you'll see it won't try to put in the date format. There's always little things with tables that are sometimes good, but it can also get in the way. There we are, so that's working. So to change the fields manually, I think there is an option. I just can't remember where it is. No, don't worry too much about that. You can just do it the way I've shown you. And then to add rows, so later when you need to insert additional drawings, then I'm pretty sure you can do it just by right-clicking, or is it tab? I always forget this. Oh yes, tab, there we go. So that's the easy way. There probably is another option, but the method that you have in most Microsoft programs as well also works. So do you know about that one, when you're using tables in Word or something like that? So you can always just add a new row with tab. So that's a standard shortcut that is kind of assumed knowledge with tables generally. And so again, I'm sure there's a tool for that, but again, that way using tab is probably the easiest. Okay, so you're going to go and also one last thing, the formatting. So you can see here that this cell is obviously set to the right, and so you can set the justification up here to each cell, or you can do a group of cells. As far as I know, you can use what is it, shift? It's a bit fiddly with tables. I really don't like tables in AutoCAD, you can probably tell. Oh, you can, but linking tables it's a lot more work than it is in just doing it in AutoCAD. Once you get it set up in AutoCAD, it's not that bad. But the formatting's the main problem. So you can see here that obviously that cell's a different justification to the one at the bottom or the one underneath. You can just do them one at a time, but I know there is a way of selecting multiple. I just can't remember it. So maybe though, for now, I'll just show you that you can set it individually, and maybe just make them all centered is the easy way. Yeah, there is a way. I'm just trying to remember what it is.
Just click on the D. Just click on the D.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? Yeah.
That's what you do.
Oh, in Excel, of course. Yeah, yeah. No, unfortunately, it's just not as easy as Excel. There is a way of selecting a whole row, but honestly, I can't remember what it is. So you can see there, once I've double-clicked to go into the cell, I can easily change the justification for that cell, but the others I'd have to do separately, I think. Yes, I think that's what you might need to do. So, so again, just remember, when you double-click, that makes the cell active, and then you can set justification. They should be set to the same initially. Yeah, that one's okay, but it's when you change the data types that you might need to go and just change justification again as well.
Can't you highlight the whole program, the whole thing, and just set them all to center? How you activate that now center or center?
Oh, yes, here we go. Yep, you're right. There we are. Yep. That's it.
Cool.
Yep, that's a good way. Yep. Yeah, that's good. So that's actually a different different option as well. That's not justification tool. Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Should we start that with the drawing already done and add the new ones that we need to onto that?
Yeah, so what you probably want to do is have the ones that you've already done, if you've done 4 sheets. Yeah, but maybe even start off with, let's do proper drawing numbering. So you'd start with the floor plan being 100. And then, so that'd be probably your either your site plan or your as existing ground floor plan. So maybe if it's a floor plan, we'll make it 101, and then 102 would be maybe the next floor as existing floor plan. And then, if you really want to learn the technically correct way to do a section, can't stand tables. Okay, so to do a section. That would start with a new first number. So that would be 201 or even 200. Oh, let's just make it 201. And then...
What about it demolish?
Oh, so they would still be planned, so that would begin with a 1. And so your elevations, even though you don't have them, your elevations, if you had them, would be maybe 3, starting with 301. And then the details, we could have as, well, we're going to go straight to 4. Let's go 4 for now. Now, there are really formal systems of numbering in this way, but they're mostly American standards, so they're not really used that much in Australia. But this system is used a little bit in Australia. It's just that people tend to make up their own numbering system. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's right. So you might have to move these down. So if we need to have the demolition plan, so we'll move it to there. So yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, so S for structural. Dot. So here I'll move 401 down, and that might be my first sheet for details. And so this is the existing floor plan. And, oh, sorry, actually the demolition was combined with the floor plan, so we can just... so probably the only other thing to look at there is how to adjust the column widths. Fairly intuitive. When you select it, you can use the grips there just to adjust those. Don't know why it's, you know, can't stand tables, you can probably tell, but for something like this, they're probably not too bad. That's right, exactly, yeah, so I'm just making some more room. So, yeah, one little thing there that can help, if you make the columns wider before you type in what you need, that'll stop it from going down and making the row too high. So yeah, so that's working better. And you can, of course, copy and paste. Control C and then Control V. And for drawn by, you can just put your initials. So there we are. So something like that with all the drawings listed, and you'll of course add to that as you go through and create all these drawings. But that's a really important formal thing that you need for a drawing set like this.